Good afternoon, and welcome to the University of Pennsylvania's presentation of Intercultural Greek Council, a spotlight on Black and Latinx fraternities and sororities. My name is Manisha Waraka Van Ray, and I'm a proud member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. I came in through Gamma Epsilon, the chapter that is a citywide chapter that includes the University of Pennsylvania. Although this is a virtual event, we still like to give honor to the Lenape, the Lenape people whose land that Penn occupies. Penn occupies the traditional homelands of the Lenape. Penn acknowledges and expresses gratitude to the indigenous people of this land, past and present, for the opportunity to live and learn on Lenape Hoken, land of Lenape. And with that, just some housekeeping. I'd like to remind everyone not to record this event. There is closed captioning available at the bottom. The program is open, and if you have any questions, please put it in the Q&A box. I'd like to introduce my colleague and our moderator for tonight, Janáe Tucker. She's the Associate Director for Diversity and Co-Curricular Programs at the Office of Fraternity and Sorority Life here at the University of Pennsylvania. We also have student and advisor panelists from many different organizations tonight. We have a student from Alpha Phi Alpha, Alpha Kappa, Kappa Alpha Psi, Delta Sigma Theta, Zeta Phi Beta, La Unidad Latina, Lambda Upsilon, Lambda Fraternity Incorporated, as well as Sigma Lambda Upsilon, Sororitas Latinas Unidas Sorority. And with that, Janáe, you can take us away.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Manisha. I appreciate it. Again, my name is Janáe Tucker. I am the Associate Director for Diversity and Co-Curricular Programs, and more so, I have the pleasure of advising our Intercultural Greek Council that consists currently of our 9 organizations that we have on campus. So it is very important that we recognize that today, as you can see in our pictures, we are a family. We fellowship a lot together, and we have the privilege of doing a lot of different types of events when you think about fraternity and sorority life. Some of our major events include our Triple S, our Step Stroll Salute, big Penn Relays Weekend Step Show that we host every April during the Penn Relays weekend. We host in the fall our Meet the Greeks big event, again, over 300 people in attendance, where our students get to showcase their letters, get to showcase their history. And it is a very exciting time in the fall to get to know all of our groups on campus that are in the Intercultural Greek Council. So throughout today's presentation, you will hear the acronym IGC. That is just the acronym for our council, where all of our 9 organizations are represented. So I do have the privilege and would love for our groups to really introduce themselves, because that is the awesomeness of most of our organizations that we have in IGC, that they all become public speakers in some way, shape, or form. So I will start with our Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated representative. If he'll introduce himself, that'll be fantastic.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I hope y'all having a good day. My name is Ethan Moses. I am a rising junior at the University of Pennsylvania studying history with a world concentration. I'm also a Spring 23 initiate of Alpha Alpha Fraternity Incorporated by way of side chapter. I'm excited to be here speaking with you all and to give you some insight into Greek life at Penn.
Thank you, Ethan. I will have our representative for Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated.
Hi, everyone. My name is Tara Paul. I'm a rising senior studying graphic design and minor in consumer psychology. I'm also a Fall 21 initiate of the Gamma Epsilon chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated.
Thank you. I will have our representative, if he is still with us, I believe, for Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Gabriel Wright. and I'm a rising senior at Penn. I study political science on the pre-law track. I'm a Spring 23 initiate of the Delta Theta chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, and excited to be here today.
Next up, I will have our representative for Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Shari Onati, and I'm a rising senior in the College of Arts and Sciences, studying criminology and minoring in law and society and psychology. And I am a Spring 22 initiate of a glorious Gamma chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. I'm really excited to speak to you guys all today, and I hope you guys learn a lot from this webinar.
Thank you. Next up, I will have our representative for Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated.
Hi, my name is Kelsey Canty. I actually became a member of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated at Temple University in 2016. I am now serving as the advisor for the Mu Iota chapter here at Penn.
Thank you. Next up, our representative for Lambda Upsilon Lambda Fraternity Incorporated.
Good afternoon. My name is Santiago Momposita, and I'm currently a rising junior at the Wharton School, currently concentrating in finance and marketing. And with that being said, I'm also the current president of the Devastating Delta chapter of La Unidad Latina Lambda Upsilon Lambda Fraternity Incorporated, and very excited to be here today.
Thank you. And last but certainly not least, we have our representative for Lambda Theta Alpha Latin Sorority Incorporated.
Hi everyone, I'm very excited to meet you all. My name is Kaylee Mooney, and I'm a rising junior in the College of Arts and Sciences, studying psychology with a minor in sociology. I am a Fall 22 initiative, and I'm the current chapter president of the Beta Epsilon chapter of Lambda Theta Alpha Latin Sorority Incorporated.
Thank you all. Thank you all very much for introducing yourselves. And once again, we just want to thank everyone for joining us today and celebrating the greatness that is of our intercultural Greek chapters. So our council is very special because it is made up of our NPHC organizations. So those are our National Pan-Hellenic Council, historically Black Divine Nine organizations. You will see the pictures that are around on this slide are actually very, very current, show some of our newest members to our Intercultural Greek Council. Also, our graduation retention rate is 100%. We are very happy to celebrate that and make sure that folks do know that being a part of our organizations, we carry that weight of making sure we all graduate in academia is first. You will see here that some of our NPHC D9 organizations are very historic here at the University of Pennsylvania, as some of them are our single letter chapters. That is very important because that is a very long history. We have the privilege of making sure that we reiterate to many of the people that come to our campus that our groups are becoming and celebrating their centennial years. So that's over 100 years just here at the University of Pennsylvania. So we love to celebrate that with our historically Black organizations here on campus. It is very cool to also point out that not only are our chapters, most of them single letter, or some of them are in close proximity to our other Philadelphia schools. So we take pride in knowing that our council does combine not only with University of Pennsylvania, but some of our chapters also are hosted by Villanova, Drexel, you guys can help me out, Temple University. Who else do we have? It's a citywide kind of vibe that we do have, but those are our predominant chapters that we call citywide, or they are chartered, which you all see here on the date, meaning not just at the University of Pennsylvania, but also at another institution. This chapter also exists. So we are very special in that note because it does boost up our numbers. It does help our council thrive when we are able to collaborate and have different relationships across the city in different universities. And I'm proud that my colleagues at those universities also take pride in these chapters that do exist as well. So that's like a special fun fact. Not everyone knows that when they are coming to the University of Pennsylvania, that we do have a close-knit relationship with the other schools nearby. And some of our chapters are actually deeply rooted in those universities as well. So wanted to point that out about our NPHC. And as you can see, we definitely have those groups represented here today. On the other end of our IGC, we do have our historically Latino and Latina organizations. They are make up more of our robust system that we have. We work as one big unit, one big family. And we have Lim Theta Alpha, which is currently not in the NALFO umbrella, but they are represented here at Penn, not only here, but also at Temple University, their charter of Beta Epsilon. We do have La Unidad Latina Lambda Upsilon Lambda Fraternity as well, here chartered at the University of Pennsylvania, and our third NALFO. And our third group that is also in NALFO is our Sigma Lambda Upsilon sorority, which is also the Gamma chapter here. So they are one of the oldest chapters as well, and they are on the cusp of returning to our campus. So it's a very exciting time for all of our Latino and Latina groups as we celebrate their rich history here at a predominantly white institution, too, because of the journey that they've had to go through, as that their history provides. The journey that they've had to do to get on college campuses as well has also been very similar to, you know, being noticed and being visible. So it's always exciting. It's always fun because I feel like we're always celebrating our rich histories, and the University of Pennsylvania is special in that way.
Janáe, thank you so much for a robust update. So this is our opportunity to test the audience about their knowledge. We have one poll first that has nothing to do with cultural Greeks or Penn or Philly. We just want to know where you're from. So there's a poll asking you where you're joining us from. Please go ahead and answer the poll. Okay, come on. We only have 2 respondents. There are 129 people here today. We'll end it in one moment. Okay, it looks like most of us are from the Northeast. Right, let's get into some of the other questions. Bear with us, technical difficulties. We're trying to launch the other questions. Well, in the interest of time, why don't we save the rest of the questions for later, and why don't we jump right into the panel discussion? Our office we've collected many of your pre-submitted questions, so thank you all for giving us a heads up of some of the topics that you'd like to be explored. Janáe, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and Janáe can lead the panelists in the discussion.
Absolutely. Panelists, are we ready? Fantastic. So I see everyone's excitement. So our first question that we have for the group today is, will those prospective students be able to thrive as a Black or a Latinx student at Penn? And I will open it up for the group. Who would like to go first? Thank you, Ethan.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Just to reintroduce myself, my name is Ethan Moses. I'm representing Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. To answer the question, I would say 100%. Black and Latinx students can 100% thrive at Penn. I can only speak to my own experiences, but there's been a lot of opportunities for me at Penn in order to foster community, be able to develop lasting relationships as a Black student. I find myself in the spaces for Black students to thrive a lot of the time. So we have something on campus called the Arch Building, in which we have students are able to go down there and really interact with other students that look like them. So we have MACU, which is Black Cultural Center, La Casa Latina, which is also for Latinx students. And so spaces like that allow me to meet other Black students, be able to interact with them, get to know them, and really feel at home. Also, a council like this, in which there are Black fraternities and sororities, as well as Latinx fraternities and sororities, that allow students to kind of meet other people like them who are interested in Greek life, have events in which you can feel represented. As Janáe already mentioned, the step show is a really big part of me feeling welcome and at home. And just like within classes, you'll meet people who are very open. All the students who go to Penn are very welcoming, and, you know, being at a predominantly white institution, you really find that other students, you want to be able to come together because you realize how little there are of you. So I think it really allows us to kind of build a stronger community because of how little there are of us. And so I think it makes it even stronger. So that's how I would answer that question.
Yes, Ethan, thank you so much for that. And I won't elaborate on you all because I'll be talking all day. So I'll let our other panelists, I've seen some hands raised. So Gabe, do you want to take it away as well to add?
Yes. Once again, everyone, I'm Gabe Wright, a member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, the Delta Eta chapter. And building off of Ethan's point a little bit, he did a great job. I would say, just as you get acclimated with Penn, Philadelphia overall, you will find the things that you like to do. And I would say explore those. Explore the things you like to do, but also explore the things that you might not see yourself enjoying as much. So really put yourself out there. It'll come in your own time. You don't have to force yourself. But there's many events, there's club fairs, there's different IGC events you can attend. And you'll eventually find the people that you want to be around in your own time. It's nothing that you have to really worry about. I'm sure everyone's might be tentative in their first month of finding their friend group or, you know, different things like that. But at the same time, you know, be confident in yourself at first, and the events and the opportunities will come to you in which you can really find what you're passionate about at Penn. So I feel like that's what I kind of did a little bit. I came in, I played football at Penn, so automatically I had a group of teammates to be around. But I also am involved with City Step, which is a nonprofit dance troupe where we actually go into middle schools and elementary schools and hang out with the kids after school. There's different volunteer groups besides that I'm a part of. And those have been really fun for me. And I never thought that I would have such good experiences with those at Penn. But it's all a part of just putting yourself out there and making sure that, you know, you have fun with it.
Thank you, Gabe. I appreciate it. Sarah, did you want to add?
Yeah, I think Gabe brought up a really good point about like including our other organizations that we're involved in, because I think that's reflective of how we've each been able to thrive. So just to add on to that, I'm also a part of Umoja, which is like a Black umbrella organization that oversees all the Black student groups on campus. I'm also a part of New Spirit of Penn Gospel Choir and was in the Inspiration Acapella, which was a primarily Black acapella group. And I'm also an intern for the Maku Black Cultural Center. So just being a part of those different aspects of like specifically Black Penn life on campus, I was able to find like my niche and find my people in my community. And I was going to say the same thing as Gabe, where there are like a bunch of different opportunities given to you that will be available to you to thrive and to like be successful and have like a really meaningful experience. But you also have to want to do that and like go out of your comfort zone and do things that you might not have been used to doing before, because you're transitioning into this new period. And like college is going to be different from high school, and you're in a whole different area if you're moving out of state, and Philly itself is different, Penn itself is different being a PWI. So you really have to like step out of your comfort zone to build those like foundation blocks to thrive, because really your first semester is really important, like Gabe was saying, to do things that you might not have been used to doing before, because that's how you learn and that's how you figure out who your community is, what you like doing, and what matters to you. So yeah, definitely like put yourself out there and like want to do those things to thrive.
Thank you, Tara. Absolutely. And Santi, the last one for this question.
Yes, I just want to thank everybody who spoke before me. Definitely eloquently put it correctly. I also just want to emphasize that, especially coming into a PWI, it can be a culture shock to a lot of people who went to school with a lot of Black and brown students. And definitely, like, this is coming like from personal experience. Definitely don't shut yourself off. Definitely don't say yes to everything, but know when to take advantage of all the opportunities that are there for you by going out of your way to go towards La Casa Latina, Maku, and other centers, and going for tryouts for other organizations. And it's wonderful because as lonely as you may feel sometimes at the school, it's important to know that you have a group of people that are there for you, and that are going through the same experience that you're going through. And never feel afraid to reach out to older students as well who have gone through experiences like this. I definitely think that they have a lot of knowledge to give, and definitely career-wise as well, professional-wise as well, in all aspects of life. And with that being said, I also just want to mention that I am currently the events coordinator at Onda Latina, which is the Penn's Latinx Premier Latinx Dance Troupe. A part of that, I know that there's also groups such as Ben Fuerza, Mujeres Empoderadas, that just their essence and the reason why they exist is to attract other demographics, and never be afraid to go to their informationals, and just dip your toe into everything. And if you don't like it, the worst thing that can happen is that you don't like it and you go and find a group of people. But other than that, I just want to emphasize what everybody else said.
Thank you so much, Santi, for a great way to end as well. So we appreciate all of the questions also coming in the chat box. They are pretty good, but we will get to those. So I want you to hold tight and make sure that your question will be answered for sure. But I do want to get this question out to the panelists, and also I might play a part in the answer before they answer specifically about their organization. So the question is, what is the process of getting involved with Greek life? And I'm sure all of your minds are now thinking. So I'll just start with the fraternity and sorority life part. I just want anyone that is that put in for this question to be answered. For all fraternity and sorority life organizations, including our Intercultural Greek Council chapters, it is required in order to even be a candidate of any sort, you must have a 2.5 GPA. So I will start there. I know more will elaborate. Some of our panelists will elaborate on that GPA requirement. However, just for fraternity and sorority life in general, you must have a 2.5 GPA. You must have no conduct, ongoing conduct cases open at the university. That does include academic integrity cases. That is very important. You will not be able to be talking to any of our groups or show any interest if you have an ongoing conduct case that needs to be closed first. The other part of it for our office as well, on top of the academia and the conduct background, is also just making sure you are in good standing. We do take a look at some of the candidates as we see those names and see that potential interest for any of our groups beforehand. And we want a well-rounded student for our panelists and our other members that aren't present today to also be able to choose from. We want a well-rounded student, individual to be interested and not just have Greek life interest, but have more, like my panelists shared today, more well-roundedness about them. What are they doing in the city? How are they giving back? What groups are they a part of? What groups were they a part of in high school is very, very important. So I will now open it up to the panelists if you wanted to kind of explain very briefly just how you can become involved. And I see Sherry's hand went up first, so please take it away.
Hi, everyone again. My name is Cheryl, and I am the current president of the Gamma chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. And I'd like to reiterate what Janáe said. Definitely those are criteria that she listed out is very important to make sure you have checked off before you start displaying interest in any of our organizations. But to just speak about the other part of it, which is research, attendance at events, and being present at events is very important. So before anything, you want to make sure you know which organization is right for you before you could go any further. So me coming from an immigrant background and living in an immigrant community, I knew nothing about Greek life before researching college and going to Penn. So a lot of it for me wasn't meeting people in my community who were involved in Greek life because there were none. It was more of researching the organizations on our campus and see which one fit me. And then after that, you want to make sure you go to events. All of our lovely organizations here at Penn have Instagram pages where they'll post events. They have websites, and we also have national websites as well, where you can find out more about our organizations and the specific chapters at Penn. And from that, you could look at our Instagram pages and you'll see the events that we host. One thing I really like about our organizations that we host events every month. So there are definitely a lot of events you guys could go out to. So you want to make sure you go out and to the events and not just sit there, but, be present. You want to talk to the people who are members of the chapters, but not only that, but also interacting with the people who are attending events as well, because they are also fellow Penn students. You can learn a lot from them, not just about the organization, but also just for them being a part of Penn and the organizations that they're a part of, because especially as an incoming freshman, that's how I learned a lot about organizations at Penn from talking to people that I was going to at specific events at Penn. So I just want to reiterate those points.
Thank you. Thank you, Cheryl. And Kaylee, do you want to hop in there?
Yes. Hi. Just to reintroduce myself, my name is Kaylee Mooney. I'm currently representing the Beta Epsilon chapter of Lambda Theta Alpha Latin Sorority Incorporated. And what was said really outlined a lot of things. I just want to piggyback off that. And as it's very important to go to these events, just also recognize the events are actually beneficial, because a lot of our organizations, we do professional and academic development. So you can really learn a lot about these events and see leaders on campus, what they're doing and how they're getting involved with the community, because we also participate in a lot of community service, giving back to the West Philadelphian community, even beyond that. And I also want to add, showing interest to any of our organizations, we'd love to emphasize that it's for a lifetime, because we're your family away from home. So it's very important to go to these events, meet these people, because these people are going to be there for the rest of your life. I have family who were in different Latinx organizations, and there was a point where I didn't even know if they were my biological family or they were Greek life. So it was pretty cool. So these are people that would be there for you. And even if you decide not to join any of our organizations, we're always here for you. That's one thing that I loved when I was interested in my sorority. Even though I wasn't a sister at the time, they still were there to help me career-wise, academic-wise, and give me advice in different avenues to pursue, even if though I wasn't a sister. So yeah.
Thank you, Kaylee. Gabe, do you want to offer some advice?
Yes, they pretty much hit all the points, but I was just going to say that obviously we do live in the 21st century, as Sheryl said. All of our organizations have social media, so even if you are not able to be physically present, you can be in tune with what is happening with your desired organization, and make sure that you reach out to members if you're interested. You know, be personable, know who you are first, and then you'll be able to make your, you know, your interest decisions and, you know, which events you want to attend. Those decisions will be easier for you if you solidify your baseline foundation at Penn first. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you, Gabe. Kelsey, you want to end this question for us?
Yeah, it was hinted at before, and I know Gabe sort of touched on it just now, but really reach out and get to know the people there, because you can research the organization all you want. You can know all of their founders, you can know all their principals, you can know everything about the organization as a whole, but you are looking at joining that specific chapter, and you really have to get to know that chapter. Every chapter is different. Granted, we all have a foundation of the same principles, but who they are and who you'll be spending your time with is equally as important. So just make sure you don't just show up to the programs, don't just research it online, but really get to know those people that are there on campus.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kelsey. I was just going to make sure we emphasize that it is very important. As much as we are alike, and with our principles and our values, it is very important to know that you will be closely with these folks in these organizations day in and day out, doing a lot of work. I just want to put that out there to, you know, make sure the panelists don't have to say it. Joining these organizations and what will make you thrive is knowing that you are a hard worker and you're willing to put forth the time and energy to do the work. It is a lot of, you know, things that you may see in the media. It is a lot of fun that you may see on social media, on Instagram, on, you know, Watch the Yard, when you are looking to join these organizations. However, what is not being posted or talked about enough is the work. Like, there is a work that is put into this. It is outside of a 9 to 5, and all of my students, as well as Kelsey, even as one of our advisors present today to be represented, do a lot of work even after undergrad. They become alumni that are involved. They become regional directors. They become national presidents. So I want to emphasize with all of the participants that we have on this webinar, in order for you to thrive in any organization represented today, you must be willing to work hard and not just wear the letters across your chest, but wear them whether or not you have the letters on or not. And that means that you are doing the work that is of the organization and the reason it was founded. So that's also what we will add to this thrive in Greek life kind of question. So I appreciate all of your answers with that. I also see coming in the Q&A chat a lot about housing. So I will make sure our panelists do not have to speak on that, because I'm here. None of our groups currently at the University of Pennsylvania have any housing related to any of their organizations. That is not just for the University of Pennsylvania. For most of the organizations represented today, it is a national response for their organization that they do not have some form of housing on the college campus. There are different specific buildings on campus. I know the Arch has been mentioned, where all of our groups are together in the cultural centers, all of the 7 cultural centers that we have on campus, where our group specifically here today represented and also not here, hang out, vibe together, are together very frequently. So I wanted to point that out because I see a lot of questions about that. And as far as our residential housing as well, our panelists do have the option to live in our resident houses with Chaz. There is not one specific house. I know our college house, Du Bois College House, was mentioned in the Q&A. Our students are free to choose what college house they want to be a part of. It's just so sometimes they may choose Du Bois to live in, but that does not mean they cannot live elsewhere. We have a lot of our representatives, whether here or not here, also resident advisors. So you may see that some of our folks in IGC are also RAs. So I wanted to point that out. When it comes to college housing, you will see our groups very much so in the mix. You will see them out at the Arch, or playing football, or part of an athletic club, or any of the clubs that some of the panelists have mentioned. So I just want to help with the Q&A chat that is going on. And panelists, please feel free to answer as well. Any questions that you may see, you can answer as well on the fly if they are especially directed at you. However, I do have another question that was pre-submitted. The question is, as a student of color, how will I find support at Penn and through Greek life? Do any of our panelists want to tackle this question? Kelsey.
So I'm gonna speak less to Penn, but Greek life in general is super supportive. I can speak to myself. When I first moved out to New Orleans right after college, a Kappa and a Zeta actually gave me money and like gave me groceries because I came down and I was broke. Even to the point where there was a member of Kappa Alpha Psi from Penn who came to work at my job, and he was thrown in this summer without knowing like what's going on. And he came to me and he saw my keys and introduced himself, and we were able to like help him get acclimated to the area and in the school in general. Like being a part of Greek life, you gain a sisterhood and brotherhood, to even to the point where you will hear someone say like sister Greek or something like that, where we are all connected. And I know Janáe touched on it before, that it's a family, it's a community, where I may not know Ethan, right? But if I see Ethan on the street, I'm gonna say hi and I'm gonna talk to him and I'm gonna help him if he needs to, because it is a huge community, not even just in Philadelphia or at Penn, but across the world.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kelsey, for that. Tara, do you want to go next?
Yeah, this is like one of my favorite questions too, because like, we all really boast about like the network and the family that you're a part of when you're in Greek life. And, we say it a lot, but it's actually very true. And to Kelsey's point, like I've had so many like sisters just help me out who may not even know me, but like, or know much about me, but are willing to just lend a helping hand or extend themselves, whether it's for like professional networking, whether it's for like academic help that I need where I'm like struggling with a class, or even just someone to vent to or talk about like some really hard like conversations. Like there's always going to be someone in your corner. And I also wanted to touch on like the academic side. Like specifically, there are so many resources through Maku that they have, through Maku's partnership with Weingarten, which is like the learning center on campus. There's literally this one Black professor, you'll hear his name throughout Penn, Professor Rimmer, and he is the professor that people go to for like a lot of like calc help. I forget what the course code is for it now. It used to be Math 104, but he's like a really good example of, I guess, Black Penn and like Black Penn's extension to help others and to make sure that you feel supported, where he has tutoring sessions within the Arch building on a weekly basis. And there's like a wide variety of ways to get help and to get support. And there's also CAPS, which is just like the psychological services on campus to support you, where there are like Black therapists within that as well, and people through Maku can connect you specifically with the Black therapist. So there's study groups, there's office hours, there's just like one-on-one connections to get you a mentor or a buddy to help you get through that like biomed class that you need to get through, or a chem lab that you need to get through, because we all know that Penn is tough and that going to such a rigorous school is not easy. So there are just a bunch of resources that I'm happy to even share after this call.
Thank you, Tara. And Ethan, you want to end this question for us?
Yeah, I just wanted to reiterate what everybody already said. I just want to point out that all of these organizations were founded on the idea of support, whether it's academic support, career support, financial support, but all these organizations are here for support. So at Penn, these organizations will be there to support you. So a lot of our organizations hold events where we help with academics. Recently we had not recently, but last semester we had study hall sessions where we were able to come together and work on our stuff together. That allows you to also meet other people and make connections. Career support is another big thing. Professional panels, resume workshops is something that happens. And then speaking to me personally, I felt a lot of support coming on campus. I know Janáe mentioned that a lot of our organizations are citywide. So I was able to get connected with a student of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated that went to Drexel University. And although he didn't go to Penn, I was able to connect with him and he ended up supporting me. We became really good friends and he actually helped me get an internship that I ended up doing my freshman summer. And so stuff like that, people are always looking to look out for you. Especially as a Black and Brown student, support it looks in all types of ways. And speaking to Penn specifically, Penn also does everything that I've already mentioned in addition to that financial support. I'm a first-gen low-income student, and I can say I get a lot of financial support from Penn that allows me to thrive while I'm here. So just wanted to point that out.
Thank you so much, Ethan. That's a great help and answer as well. I think everyone else is okay with all the answers. Perfect. Thank you, panelists, for every answer. Just taking a look at the Q&A. I think an important question that definitely I want you all to highlight in these panelists, in these participants' questions today are, what are some of the community service and philanthropic activities that Penn fraternities and sororities support within the Philadelphia area? Just highlight a few, maybe two that each of you, because I know some might be repetitive, but if anyone would like to go, I'd love to have you all highlight your community service and activism that you do in the community. All right, I see some hands. Kaylee, I see in yours.
Yes, to answer the question, a lot of organizations have their own national philanthropies or chapter philanthropies, like the Lambda Theta Alpha nationally supports St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, and then Beta Epsilon specifically also focuses on domestic violence, but those are not the only areas in which we help. One of the beauties of joining an organization is if you're very passionate about something, you can cater an event or start a fundraising event to whatever you want to contribute, especially in the West Philadelphian area. Like last semester, we were very passionate about gun violence because that's something that's happening in the Philadelphia area. So we had a whole week surrounded by that. And then we donated to a nonprofit in North Philly called NOMO, which supports getting children off the streets and lessening the gun violence in West Philadelphia. So those are just like some examples.
Yeah, thank you, Kaylee. Sheryl?
Yes, I'd like to reiterate the point that all of our organizations do a lot of community service within our communities and also support a lot of philanthropic organizations nationally and in our communities. Specifically, my chapter, of course, we do an event called Penn Gent where we don't necessarily have the same philanthropic organization that we donate to each year, but we let the winner decide. So we actually have our current Penn Gent on the call, Santi, who he donated the prize money to his chosen charity. And just throughout our events, like we support different organizations. So we actually did a collaboration event with Books Through Bars, where we went to the Books Through Bars location with the Beta Epsilon chapter, and we helped package books for incarcerated people. And we also support Why Not Prosper, and where we made care packages for women who are incarcerated and women who were recently released. So like it varies from year to year. Like we have like different things that we support around the community.
Thank you, Sheryl. I see Ethan.
Yeah, so Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated has 4 national programs that we always work to every year. One of those being a voteless people is a hopeless people. So voter registration and voter advocacy is very important to us as an organization. So a lot of the events we try to do on campus connect to voter registration. And also we have another national program that we do called March of Dimes, in which we kind of march for women who have health risks when they're giving birth. And so me and the rest of my line went and got to march and meet other Greeks when it came to supporting the women and their birth risks and birth risks and birth death, a lot of the stuff that goes along with that. Some other stuff that we do on campus, we try to raise money for our yearly gala that we do. And so a lot of philanthropic stuff goes on every single year, but kind of like what Cheryl said, it does vary from year to year. So.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ethan. Santi?
Hello, everybody. Just to piggyback off of what Charles said, definitely throughout when we received the prize money from Penn, we donated it to Techos Pa Mi Gente, which translates to Roofs for My People, which goes to disaster relief from hurricanes in Puerto Rico. And in addition to that, we also host a Palante banquet, which we host a week before Thanksgiving, so that students who can't afford to go back home have, a safe space to enjoy a nice Thanksgiving dinner along with their peers. And in addition to that, we also have a PATH initiative, which stands for providing access to higher education, which we definitely, especially with affirmative action and this tension, that we definitely have a voice and impact in that region as well, and definitely look forward to creating programs that target that.
Absolutely. Thank you, Santi. Kelsey, and then we'll end it with Tara.
As previously stated, we have everything, different programs nationally. I know a bunch of us do partner with March of Dimes. Part of that for Philadelphia specifically, all the chapters in Philadelphia partner with Jefferson Hospital for a long-term partnership to ensure that they are fully stocked and supported. We also work closely with an organization called North Broad Renaissance, which helps clean up the Philadelphia area, specifically North Broad, so starting at City Hall and moving north. North Broad Renaissance that cleans up and also helps establish and sustain businesses, especially Black businesses along that area. And then, of course, I think a common one is Chosen 300. It's a very hands-on opportunity where you get to serve people in the community that may not have hot food. They also have students from Penn sometimes come down to do medical clinics. So a lot of these things we work together or cycle through to make sure that these programs are not just supported momentarily, but over the long term.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kelsey. And Tara.
Yeah, so nationally we have our Educational Advancement Foundation, which helps serve scholarships and providing financial support to do a lot of academic achievement. Within our chapter specifically, we have our Leona K. Baylor Scholarship that we award to 2 high school students from the Philadelphia area. Annually, we also support with voter registration, and those are the 3 main things that I wanted to cover.
Perfect. Thank you. All of you panelists, thank you for answering that question. Another one that I see that I think is very important is how do fraternity and sorority members balance their academic commitments with their involvement in Greek life? Who wants to take this one? Again, the question is, how do fraternity and sorority members balance their academic commitments with their involvement in Greek life? And Kelsey, I see your hand.
So, though we are a service-based organization, we really heavily lean on scholarship as one of our primary principles. And so with that being said, you cannot join, but also you cannot be an active member of the sorority if you do not have a certain GPA. And part of what that looks like is having supports from your chapter, from your graduate or alumni chapter, and maybe even the state that makes sure that you have the foundations that you need. And what that looks like is very individual to you. And I think that's one of the benefits of having a support system around. And also with Penn, to make sure that your plan and how you can get back on track is super important. Also, someone said it earlier and someone basically co-signed it in the chat, and I'm going to co-sign it again. Do not say yes to everything. You really want to be active. You only have a couple years in undergrad that you get to be a part of this organization before you become an adult and have more responsibilities. But you really, really need to sit down and see what is a priority to you. Yes, we want you to be active. Yes, we want you to get back to the community, but you can't do everything. And that's when you lean on your chapter, you lean on Greek life at Penn, you lean on your line sisters or brothers because you cannot do everything. And that's something that we have to really instill in us and hold our chapter members accountable to that as well.
Thank you, Kelsey. Perfect. Kaylee?
Yeah, I just wanted to add, because she said that beautiful. Another, like, as she mentioned, like organizations, we really prioritize your academics, where we even, I know the Beta Epsilon chapter, we have an academic chair on our board. So we do a lot of check-ins with each other, making sure that we're all there grade-wise, mental health as well, because mental health is very important. And with that, we also like host like study breaks, and like we study just so we're in an environment where we're all like very productive. Because as mentioned, like there's that requirement to be like, even if you are a sister or a brother already, you still need to maintain that GPA to be an active sister or brother. So really prioritize making those academic settings where we have study groups, and even have some events where we give tips to improve studying, and let the undergrads at the University of Pennsylvania knows in ways which we will do it, and ways we can help them do it as well.
Thank you, Kaylee. And Tara?
Yeah, I feel like for all of us, we hold scholarship to a very high standard between our like organizations. And so to manage like academics and Greek life specifically, it really all boils down to having a really good like time management system. And to Kelsey's point, and to what Santi was saying before, like you have to prioritize, and you're going to have to say no to different things, and you're going to have to get good at saying no to a lot of different things, because like at the end of the day, that's what's going to make a difference between getting that essay in on time or asking for an extension and like struggling. So it really, like, you have to like be real with yourself in terms of what is feasible for you, and also like lean on other people for support and ask for help. And from the jump, be honest and say if you can or can't do something, because that can also dictate the outcome of being successful with like academics and all the things that you're balancing.
Thank you. Sheryl, then Santi.
Yes, I'd like to really reiterate the saying no part that you guys all spoke on. As a person who likes to do everything, like I have a really hard time saying no. I joined this campus wanted to be a part of a lot of organizations, and then becoming a part of Greek life, that I just had a lot of things on my plate. So a lot of what we spoke about already, time management is very important. I use my notes app to plan out basically my whole life. So definitely planning your classes, knowing what classes that you're doing, and looking at the syllabus of the class and saying, okay, I have this assignment due on this day. And if you have a little bit more time, making sure that you get the assignments done ahead of time, especially with a lot of our chapters, some things just come out of the blue. You might have to attend an event that you didn't think that you had to attend, or there might be something that's done, but you always want to there's something that's due, but you always want to make sure you get it done.
Thank you, Sheryl. And Santi, you want to finish us out?
Yes, please. So I just want to emphasize that it's important to internalize your strengths and weaknesses. Like if your strength is academics, then good. If your strength is, time management, then perfect. But also make sure to look out for your people who maybe are, that those may not be their strengths, and then help them in those ways, and give them advice as well. But also just for study-wise habits, see what style of learning works for you. Stick to it and then repeat it. If it works, then keep doing it. And let's say you're not the best studier with a big group of people. Why are you doing that? Just make sure to be aware of what you're doing, and at the end of the day, hold yourself accountable, because you get your transcript at the end of the semester and no one's left to blame but yourself, respectfully.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Santi. And I know we are cutting close to time, but I did see one question that panelists, if you'd like to just throw in anything after what I say, but we had a great question about faculty. I just have to highlight that I just actually came from a meeting yesterday with faculty in regards to fraternity and sorority life. So we do want to pinpoint and highlight that there are strong advocates for faculty. I know one professor was mentioned actually during the panelist speaking But there are many faculty members that actually are still part of fraternity and sorority life, whether it's these groups here that we're highlighting today, or just the rest of our community with our IFC and Penn Atlantic groups. So faculty does play a part in our initiatives and our decisions in fraternity and sorority life. So I just want to, give them a little push and a little praise, because there are some amazing advocates in our faculty and academia world that definitely highlight fraternity and sorority life and the impact that it has on university students here at the university. So Tara, I know you might want to say one piece too, but then I know we are cutting super close. So Tara, keep it short.
Yeah, of course. Like really just adding on, like basically the faculty here are what make Penn home as well. They add to making Penn home and making it a family, because these are the people that are your biggest advocates and biggest supporters. Like they're the ones writing your rec letters. They're the ones giving you career advice. They're the ones like connecting you with that person to get you that internship. And it's all because like they want to support you and they want to like help you. And they're vocal about that from the start. And like even the people that we have on this call are just really good examples of that, especially Janáe. So yeah, like they're the best.
Thank you so much, Tara. And I think we're at time, but we're, our panelists are here. Some may have to go, but if we did have questions that we missed, we'll stay behind as well.
Okay, thank you so much, Janáe, and to all of the student panelists, as well as our advisor, Kelsey. We really appreciate your time today. I want to also thank our behind the scenes admissions officers who were typing away, answering some questions in the chat box, Kevin Strong and Andrea Board, who is a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. And with that, I want to put up our screen where you can get in touch with us. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to either us or the Office of Fraternity and Sorority Life. Have a great day. So thank you for coming to the Intercultural Greek program at the University of Pennsylvania. And we will see you at future programs.